All right. Happy Friday. It's actually Thursday, but I'm going to probably release this tomorrow, which will be Friday. So happy Friday. I just got through working on something that made me remember a book that I loved, I still love, although the technology doesn't apply anymore. So if you've never heard of Dan Cederholm, go look up right now simplebits.com. Um, so he's doing fonts now and some merch, but he is one of the OG. He's from the old school. So he used to do this thing. It was like a quiz on how to best handle a particular, I'll call it a component, but yeah, I guess that is what it was. And the whole thing was to like, for one, it showed how many different ways there were to approach a problem in HTML, CSS, whatever. But there were multiple ways to solve it as well. And he would invite people to contribute, and then he would post his answers. I think I'm remembering this right. Well, this book that he released, and actually, so it may be updated now. I have a first edition, I think, and mine was published in 2006. Uh, am I right? That is 19 years ago. Wow. So anyway, again, he would. What he meant by bulletproof was like he wanted it to work no matter how wide or small the browser window was. Now, this was pre-responsive technically, but there was still such thing as a liquid layout. And what that meant was you wanted the layout to fill the screen as elegantly as possible while keeping the components intact inside of it. And so anyway, all that to say, I was working on a simple text and image block, really just an image on the left, text block on the right, and setting it up so that it could be super flexible and setting up the global styles and generate blocks and ultimately making a component out of it. And so I just did this on a client project and it just made me think this would be a great video, I think. And so we're just going to walk through it real quick. And I'm going to do it on this fonts page. And man, let's just get right into it. I'm going to do it right here. So let's start out with a container. And I'm absolutely going to use my cheat site over here. And one of the things I always struggle with is let's go ahead and put in all the blocks we're going to need. That's going to be the grid block. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and rename. This is image plus text block. And this is the grid. And within that, there's going to be 2 columns. Actually, instead of column 1, column 2, let's call this image column. And, just duplicate. Rename text column. And so in that image column, we're going to drop in a regular old WordPress image block. Oh yeah, how about my Star Wars stuff? We'll do Darth Vader. And then text column, let's just snag heading level 3. That's a heading level 2. Good night. That's big. That's okay. I forgot I'm that big. P paragraph and paste that in. And we can always do. Nope, I don't have that set up on here. Great. So we may change that to a heading level 3, but we'll see. Okay. So now we need to do some styling. And I always struggle with the name of my classes, but I normally prefix my own with GPC. And you know what? We'll just go image text. But see, I want to call it a block or wrapper or something like that. I'll just do it like I did for the client. Block image text. I know it's long, but it helps me. Okay, so now that we have that, it's going to be blank, and we're just going to apply some spacing. And I forget that I don't, or maybe do I? Do I have my variable name as spacing? Oh, I do not. Okay, that's okay. We'll just do we'll do this. One rim. And you can do this however you like. Whatever units or whatever you prefer. I know that is a whole other issue. Yeah, I don't want a caption. Or that's a whole other can of worms we can open up as far as what units of measurement to open to use. Incorporate, whatever. Okay, so I think that's actually all I want to do for that. Now the grid, we're going to do GPC block image text grid. Boom. And I kind of hem and haw over whether this ought to be a grid or a flex. I'm going to do it as a grid. Because I can't think of a reason not to right now. Let's do like that for now. So grid layout. And we're just going to do 2. Okay. I've really got to beef up on my CSS grid stuff. I'm much more savvy in Flexbox, and it's very lazy of me not to want to get out in grid that much. I think that's, yeah, sorry, I'm looking at my reference. Okay, so now we're going to do, yes, we're going to name GPC block image text image column. Because we're going to need it to do some specific things. For one, it's not going to have any styling of its own. We're going to use a couple of things. So let's create a new selector, and it's just going to be image. Yep, it's just going to be image. And with that, we're going to, it's something I like to do. I like to make an image a block so it doesn't have any of that weird bottom margin that inline elements get. And we're going to go ahead and style it. We're going to size it. I want to do, we want to do this 100% wide because I want it to be that. And we're going to do 16 by 10. And where's my media? I'm going to set this to cover because we're going to change the proportions of this based on different screen sizes. I think that's, yeah, one other thing, we need a new one because sometimes it gets wrapped in a figure class and it has a margin on it, and I want to set that to 0. So I'm telling it that any figure element within our image column is going to inherit that styling. Okay, now let's move on to the text column, and it's going to be called GPC block image text column. Okay, and it's going to be blank style, and we're going to give it a teeny bit of spacing so that, see, that top is like 1.2 or 0.25. Really? Just a hair. Like, to me, that looks a little bit better. And I think that's all I want to do right now. Oh, I did want to do one more thing to this. And let's grab our image selector. Let's add a little bit of round corners on that. Sure, 6. And let's go ahead and save and take a peek. Saving, done. Okay. Groovy. Groovy. Kind of digging it. Now, some of this will come down to personal preference, and I know, we can't please everybody. Ideally, this image proportion might change because right now this text is a little bit longer, so it might look better if, and there might be an override here where you could do like a utility or a secondary selector that tells it, certain occasions we want it to be square or more not so. Where's that sizing? Oh, I forgot. I gotta select my image selector. Yeah. So 4x3. Whoop. 4x3. Is that actually? You know what? A way we can do that and kind of try it out is just use the inspector. I do that so much. Okay. I don't understand. Why is it not? What in the heck? Why is it not letting me edit? That was kind of weird. Okay, 4x3. Yeah, that is better. And maybe we'll leave it like that. It doesn't have to be the same way for every single site. And since I'm using much bigger type on this site than I am on my client site, that may look better. Okay, but here's something to consider. Notice that gets a little bit cramped. And if I do go to my inspector, here's where I start fine tuning and noodling. I did put padding on it in case I wanted to apply a background image. So margin bottom actually looks a little bit better, a little more breathing room. But what if I want it to be more reactive, I guess, than having to do that manually? So let's do, let me see, I'm taking a peek over here at my selectors. Yep. So here's what I did. I created a new selector. And now I'm going to use the, is that the adjacent child selector? You're getting something that's immediately after it? I think it is. I may have that wrong. Okay, we're going to use an is selector. And now we're just going to run through some items. Is it a div? Is it a section? Is it a paragraph? H1, H2, H3. But make sure that it is not an element of the same class. GPC, block, image, text. Because if I have one that comes immediately after it, I don't want this big gap. So yeah. So now we can assign, okay, so what it's actually doing is going to apply this to the element immediately following this block. So we're going to do it to the top. And let's just go ahead and do 2M, maybe. We'll try that, see how it looks. So let's save that and take a quick peek. Is that site updated? Okay. And now if I select the immediately following heading 2, it gets that applied. Is that a, let's see, sys selector plus sign? I don't know whether just type a plus or, no, not that. Oh, there it was. Adjacent. I think that's what I said. Did I say that right? Yeah. So yeah, okay. So that's where we are so far. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. So what happens when we go mobile, or when we start reducing the screen size? Okay, so that looks kind of weird. For one, that big honking heading is a problem, and that needs to be styled separately. In fact, I think I did a video on responsive font sizing that would actually probably help that out some. But what we can do is, let's see how it looks with that. Not that that's what I want to do, but just saying. Okay, so I see some things we could do. For one, the proportion of this image probably needs to go at least more square, if not more vertical, if it can. And we need to reduce the gutter here, or the column gap. So that has to do with grid. So let's go into grid, and we'll select our tablet size and go to layout, and let's reduce this to 1.5. Maybe. Does it need to be 2? Maybe. Okay. Oh, and the image. I was going to see about, yeah, so let's grab our image selector out of here, and let's look at this ratio. So do we go 1 to 1 and make it more square? And now that looks like too much padding at the top of that text column, maybe. Let's see how that looks. That didn't do a darn thing. What's happening here? Did I? Wait a minute. What's it tell me? It has local stuff. Has local. What local styles? I don't. I don't know. Okay. What? Okay, just a second. Y'all, what the heck? I just spent like 30 minutes trying to figure this out, and ended up just having to delete the styles I just applied and reapply them. I have no idea what just happened. But anyway, it is working now. Let's hope that it continues to work. I don't think that was a generate. I mean, I guess it could have been a GenerateBlocks glitch. I don't know. I don't know. First time I've ever had that happen, I think. So, okay. So I'm sorry. We're working our way down to the mobile view. So now we have the big view, and we're getting smaller. And now the image is switching to a square format. Our column gap has decreased slightly, because we really don't want more space between the image and the text than there is on the outside of the container that holds the image and the text. So now we need to work our way down to mobile. So let's start with our grid. So let's get down to mobile view, and that just won't stand. So we'll switch to a single column, and that's actually okay. So the space in between the two, so a grid and a flex layout, let you define or specify the space increments, the spacing in between each element. And that's what we did. We went ahead and set the row gap from the get-go. So it just is one rim. And I guess you don't have to do it there. You can do it on the mobile view, but why not? So if we save that now, it's going to resave the grid. Site updated. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So now we switch to this nice mobile view. Okay. And we want the image to be first, as it is. Now, we might also come back here to our image. So let's select our image and let's see what okay, so we start with a 4x3. We switch to a square. Maybe we go back to 4x3. Or is it 4x3 or is it square? That looks square. It is square. Yeah, maybe we can go back to 4x3 when it goes back to mobile. I love being able to do that to images. So let's do that. So you get a little bit more of the image in the mobile view. That's looking pretty tight, I think. Yeah. So this is nothing revolutionary. It's just things to think about. As you're doing this, I kept running into issues where like, well, I did this, but now there's not enough spacing between this and the next element. And so just to show you, if I were to duplicate this, let's get back to, now let's just take a look at this. Well, let's actually switch out the image. Oh, that'll be interesting. So there's Luke and that vertical crop. Oh, that's not bad. Okay. Oh, so that actually, well, I don't like that either. We can actually, another video, or maybe I already did that. I can't remember. Just captions, we can get rid of the caption. So let's look at this responsively and see what the spacing is looking like, because for one, what I'd like to do is be able to reverse this so that the image is on the right and the text is on the left. And you can have this kind of staggered effect when you're stacking these blocks. I don't like that spacing. Close that up. And what's happening here? Oh, you know what? That's one more thing. So this paragraph text has that margin on it. So let's sort that out. It's another bulletproof thing we can do. So I think we're going to need a new selector. I think this is, sorry, I'm looking. Yes, that is what I did. So P last child. So I want the last paragraph element within this div, this container, to have no margin. So I'm going to select the last paragraph and say 0. No margin, please. Okay, and that brought up the space a little bit. Now, yeah, I think that works. I think that's enough spacing. I might want a little bit more. I might want to bring up that Yeah, maybe that doesn't need to be that great. The vertical gap. So we can look at that real quick. And so maybe it's just 0.6. I know that's not a even. I tend to be OCD and want it to be like 0.5, 0.75. Do it in quarter increments. That's, yeah, maybe. That's pretty good. That breathes. I like that formatting. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so what if we do want to stagger it? How can we do that? I think I've covered everything. We can add a helper class, or what do you, not like a secondary class. There's a name for that, and I can't remember it. That will make that happen automatically. In just a second, let me pull it up. Be right back. Okay, so yeah, so I've duplicated it, and we're gonna apply something to the grid here, and it's gonna be a long name and edge text. But I really want it to only apply here because it's kind of specific. I don't want to overthink it. So grid, and my two dashes because it's a modifier. Is that what I'm thinking of? Modifier class, reverse. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. So then we're going to do two more selectors that we want to target because I don't think Flexbox has a reverse property that you can apply like overall just to make the inner blocks go backwards. Grid does not, I don't think. So that's where Flex might be better for this, but we can get around it, and I'll just do that for now. So we're going to target the inner divs. So we're going to say div, just in case the class name changes, we're not targeting the exact class name. Div int child 1. And we're going to do order 2. Yeah, it's going to look jacked up a little bit. That's okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. So give me within this element, go shoot for the inner div child 2. And did I do this right? No. No. Wait, did it? No. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Let me go back. Sorry, my brain's working too hard. So the first one I want to be second. Yes. And the second one I want to be first. Whoopsie. Okay. And I'm not just flip-flopping them because in the order of things, especially if someone using a screen reader or a search engine or whatever, semantically I want the structure to be the same order, not just visually. Okay. So visually it looks staggered, but if we were to look at this in the markup, not enough room. It's as it should be. So this is Vader here, and there's the image column, there's the text column. And if I go down to Luke and Mr. Yoda, you get the first one is actually the image column, which now appears to us on the right, and the second one is the text column, which now appears to us on the left. So in the markup, it's in the right order. Visually, we've just switched up some. But when we go smaller, we don't want that to happen. So on mobile, we want that order to go back. So let's just jump in here and switch to our mobile view. And now we're going to go to 1 and make it 1. And we're going to go to 2. And we're going to make it 2. And save. And we're already in our mobile view. All right, and now we're back to the way it should be. I mean, can I move Fooey? Can I move this to the side just a minute? I still want to. Come on, move over. Is that as far as I can go? Hey. Okay. So let me go a little bit. Okay, so that is our desktop view. Now we're getting down to tablet size. These squared off. And then we switch to mobile view, and they switch back to the correct order, image first. And there you have it. And I would like to think that that is somewhat bulletproof. We might run into scenarios where, like, let's go back to those big honking. Let me switch. Whoop. Oh, I can do it right here. Go back to those heading 2s. So those are really huge, and I might use my alternate heading style for something like that, because I don't know if there's any good way of getting around that other than we could apply some special image classes so that, maybe images are more vertical in cases like that. Because that's really big. And you almost get the feeling that you're not quite sure. See, now that needs more breathing room. And that might be more of a typography problem with the font sizing that needs to be adjusted than it is for this container that we've created. But anyway, I know, technically this is something simple. This is nothing. Again, I feel like I say that a lot because I'm not doing anything revolutionary. It's just taking a deeper, closer look at how we can build things and build them really well. I don't know. I kind of enjoy that kind of stuff. But I do want to hopefully, my gosh, I haven't even really touched on what the carousel can do. I've played with the overlay panel a little bit. Still a lot I want to do with the query block and test out some things. And I don't know. It's just that tinkering kind of nature. This stuff I enjoy. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get something out of it, and you can apply it in your work, things you build. Hope you're building some cool stuff. And please like, subscribe, leave me some comments, even ding the little bell. I forgot about the bell, the notification bell, so you know when I post new videos. Usually every Friday, but I don't know. It's the holidays, and that hasn't been happening like I thought it would. But anyway, you guys take care. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and yeah, see you guys soon. Build some cool stuff.